Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Wednesday, May the 28th, 2025, and today's topic I'm going to call Sketching the Easy Way. But before we begin, welcome back if you're returning and welcome if you're new to the channel. I sketch and post every day and I use humor to stay focused and to build a habit. And speaking of that, that's what I'm going to use today. Is just kind of going to go over like different approaches and different tips as I like to do. So this page I worked on at the beginning of the month. Yeah, so there's videos about this one. I won't link to it because this video won't be about this. However, I'm wanting to fill like this page, and sometimes it's good to just have like one kind of drawing. Like I could just leave this, but I feel like the ideas for this video kind of goes with it, so I'll just use this space right here. But yeah, to begin with, the topic is sketching the easy way. I'm going to use timers, which is what I always say at the beginning of every video. And I did a kind of like a sketchbook tour, but not really. It was really about just keeping sketchbooks. So this is a sketchbook. So if you want to sketch the easy way, I would suggest just getting something. And this is a pretty like plain sketchbook just to get started. Or if you have like loose sheets of paper, you can keep it in a binder or something like that. I just find it like probably the easiest thing to do to start getting into sketching and stuff. And then the next thing would be, once you have that, then to like build a habit. First, I'll go over like tools. So once you have like a sketchbook, it's good to, so right now, like this is what I have on my desk. And I've talked about this over the past several days, is I'm organizing the materials I have. So I have these like pen grips. So I just put them on like these pens, and I have a lot of these because I was doing digital art for like a long time, and I just had these supplies. To make it easier is, yeah, just organize some tools, have a sketchbook, have like pens and pencils. So for example, here's like a lead holder, and I have like this much, and that's how these work. And I put the grip on it, and you can sharpen these, but this one actually has like a sharpener in it, kind of like this. You can sharpen it. But I just keep this one unsharpened. I'm going to start like a 1-minute timer. So I'm going to use this pencil. So it's whatever feels good to use. I also have some like wooden pencils somewhere, but this one is basically the same. Yeah, I think it's like an HB lead. I'll start a 1-minute timer and just sketch from imagination. And as I do that, part of it is like warming up. So I have this idea because I have the sketch on this page of drawing the character, because it's kind of like a character, like the figure. And I'm going to sketch like this. So this video isn't about figure drawing, but there may be, I mean, this could be figure drawing, so, or this is figure drawing, but it's figure drawing from imagination using like construction. So I'm going to just use this. So this is a warm-up, so that was one way to make it easier, or sketching easier. So that's 1 minute. Now there was a time where, for various reasons, it was difficult for me to even do like 1 minute of sketching. So that's what using like a 1-minute timer can help with. And depending on where you're at, because the whole point of this sketch was to talk about like the artistic journey and like the hero's journey and stuff, you might have to get to a point where like it's easy, or maybe it was difficult to do like a 1-minute sketch, and so work on getting that part being like easy. So in this next one, I'll do another 1-minute sketch just from imagination. So let's just do that. And I'll switch. So the next thing could be using like a mechanical pencil. So this one compared to this will just give me more detail. So instead of sharpening this, and so that's what I'm going to do. And I'll start a 1-minute timer, and I'll keep working on this one. Because sometimes you're in a position where you think, well, this sketch isn't much of anything. So you can add more construction. So I'm just going to draw a mannequin, like a stick figure. And just by doing that, it'll give me more structure, just based off of that loose sketch. And this is just one way of doing this. I have a lot of different ways, which I talk about in the figure drawing playlist. So just by doing this, it'll give it more like anatomical correctness. So that's 1 minute. Yeah, so part of this is like learning to just enjoy the process and enjoy sketching. So that's like one easy way to come up with this. And I'll just kind of keep working on this. I wasn't sure what I was going to sketch, so that's kind of my point, is just make it easy. And like, yeah, that's like 1 minute, so like 2 minutes total. Then here's like a ballpoint, so you can kind of, so I just kind of leave this for now, because sometimes that's like the best thing, is to sketch and leave it. But then I might have an idea like that's not enough or something. So I'm going to like sketch another one. But like a ballpoint pen is good for this look right here, like an underdrawing. Instead of like a 1 minute timer, I'll start like a 5 minute timer. So it's kind of up to you if you even want to use timers, but I still do to this day. So I'll start a 5 minute timer and I'll redraw it, because sometimes like that's the best thing to do, is just redraw something. So I'm going to redraw this. So this might be helpful just in general, just for you to kind of see. So using a ballpoint pen, I can still be kind of like this, like sketch lightly. But then just kind of fix, or just, yeah, like draw it a certain way. Part of this is being inspired by the sketch that's already on this page. Kind of like this. So that's, instead of like messing with this, so this was a minute or like 2 minutes total with 2 different pencils. This is a ballpoint pen, and we're using a 5 minute timer. So this is how to sketch the easy way, but also like figure drawing. It just so happened to be about that. So I'm just copying, kind of, instead of messing with this. I mean, I could draw over this or erase it, but you don't have to. I mean, this is kind of good. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, obviously. But this is like a sketchbook, so you can just redraw stuff. So once you kind of have this, it's good practice. You can kind of skip some of these things. But like sometimes the brain, that's why it's good to have like a warm-up. The brain doesn't want to operate just yet. So you'll see that it's still a better like figure, like it has a better feel to it. So this would be called like the sketch stage. So that's like another thing that would make sketching easier, is to have like stages. So this is the sketch, and I don't try to do more than I need to. The figure drawing could be this. It could be figuring out like because this is based on like the style. Like I kind of picked something that was kind of basically realistic. So you can go in and add forms, kind of like this. Like once you figure this out, you can even figure out this part even more. So this is using the stick figure or mannequin method, which I basically learned from drawing comics the Marvel way and Andrew Loomis and Jack Ham and people like that, just to set things up sort of like as a mannequin. So different ways. So the 5 minutes is almost up. So you can see like between the 2 minutes that this took and then 5 minutes, and now like there's still almost 5 minutes or a minute left. You can basically get the sketch of, it ended up being like 2 characters. So this person found a friend. So part of this is I'm just gonna go through like the different materials, so you can fill like a whole sketchbook with stuff like this. I'm actually gonna use this. I found this the other day. Like this was my like go-to inking pen when I started just sketching with ink, like without like the pencil and stuff, because it's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just that a lot of times if I ink over this, I'll have to erase the pencil. It's just like an extra step. So that's kind of what this was. You can sort of skip it. In this next one, I'll do even less sort of like underdrawing. To make sketching easy, since that's the topic, like pick something you like. So I like this a lot because like it goes with like how I sketch, and plus I guess because I'm left-handed, so that's kind of a factor because some pens don't work that good. But I'm going to draw, let's say I actually have this, which I do. Since I kind of have like a character right here, like the look, I'm just going to go off of that. Because that's part of the easy thing also is like, if you know what it looks like, you can also keep it kind of basic like this too. So yeah, with all of that said, I'm going to zoom in just so it doesn't look like it's part of the same like scene. So that's one thing about doing these sketchbooks and collages and comics and stuff. I'm just going to zoom in. But I'm going to use this as kind of a guide, but then do the character design based off of the other. And I'm not going to set a timer, or actually maybe I'll just set a 5-minute timer and get the adrenaline going. So I'm going to just draw sort of, I haven't used this in a while, and I really like these pens, although they might run depending on that's the thing, like they might smear or something like that. So I started a 5-minute timer, and if I'm going to like sketch without a lot of the underdrawing, I'm going to be a little bit more careful, and it just depends. You can make it sketchy, because the other one was a lot more sketchy. The top part of this bit. So there's like another way of sketching is my point. So to get into sketching like with a pen, I just did this. Like I just had a sketchbook that I just used like a pen the whole time. And then once you get something going, you can kind of just do this, like make stuff up as you go along. Just play around with lighting. And then yeah, just kind of use that as like a guide. Now in the video I made about like the different sketchbooks I use, yeah, I just made it a point to do this. And so I started a 5-minute timer, so you have to just kind of practice this and mess up. You'll get used to it. But I like that it's just kind of like finished. Like it already looks pretty okay. And you can just adjust it. Kind of like that. So there's one way of doing it. I set a 5-minute timer because a lot of times your concentration can only like take so much of this kind of thing. But it's fun. I mean, it's pretty like fun to see what you can come up with. But you can do this. I mean, you can sketch it out. So in other words, just making it easier. I really like this pen though. But yeah, it might, if I use markers or something on it, it might end up smearing, I'm not sure. So there's about a minute left. So that's one way to do that. So let's say like on this light side. So in this next one, I'm going to use like a thin, fine line. And I'll just keep working on this. I'm going to stick with like this pose. So that's why this is like helpful. You can see this. This was just drawn from imagination, but you can also like have reference and then use it the same kind of way. Just make up something. So I'll start another 5-minute timer. And I'm going to use a thin pen because I'm saying like this is the light. So there's different ways of approaching it. You can use a broken line kind of like this. This pen is sort of running out, I think. Plus it's a fine line. So there's this. So you can kind of use this broken line. Also because it's fine, like finer point, you can use it as like tone, so you can compare the difference. But yeah, this thing is kind of running out. But it kind of looks cool, so I'm gonna keep using it as like a gray tone. And yeah, you can like have a different style for that, like a softer edge. Same with this, you can get some blending. And then sometimes characters will just kind of show up. So you can ink, so since the topic is sketching the easy way, you can kind of have a pretty good drawing just by doing this. So I have a couple of minutes left. If you have like the kind of like the light, it just depends on how you want to go. Like you can make this part be more dark. So I'm just going to use this medium. This is like the usual felt tip pen that I use. This is probably like the thicker line. So you can just decide to, so it's pretty close. I like this because it you can kind of get different like line widths with it. So when you're using like line work, especially for like pen, the width of it matters, and also like the direction of it. That's why I always say like build it up gradually, because you could do more here, but like you might not want to. It just depends. I like how, I guess, graphic it is. You have to make like decisions. Like every like pen stroke like counts, so you can see like it just has like an effect, like everything that you put down. So one thing that could happen is, yeah, I won't set a timer, I'll just kind of talk about stuff. So one thing is you can outline. Now that I kind of have like this lighting scheme, I can kind of go with it. So you can outline shadows like this, and then just fill in the shadows, and that'll be like a shadow right there. This kind of looks like it could be a pointy ear. This guy met like a goblin creature. So one way of doing it is this, where you can just outline. So this is using like line weight, because this line is thicker than this one. So that's just line weight. So that's one way. So this is like a cast shadow. So you can just say that's a cast shadow. So let's say that that's like a cast shadow right there. So let's just draw this leg. So I'm just going to keep it on like this one side. It's not a bad way to just work on it, and then you can put more subtlety, but like it's just to begin with. And so that's just light and dark, and then that's a cast shadow, so you can do another cast shadow. So you can draw something like this and then fill that in. To have like a cast shadow. We'll see what we can do with, these are like basically markers. Now it's gonna bleed. I'm not too worried about it because it's my sketchbook, but it will definitely bleed through this other side. Like you kind of have like a study, which is kind of cool. And just by doing it a different way, it looks like a collage, if you will. Now my idea is, so this is where imagination comes in. So I'm going to use this brush. There's different ways of going about things. So to begin with, you can block in shadows, and you can always sketch it in with pencil, but if you practice with ink, you can kind of skip some things. So for example, if I block in shadows, I can kind of go like this. So that's like the shadow. Like the shape or like the silhouette. And just using a brush and like doing it this way, again, it's just an approach. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Kind of the same way with this, you can define some of the shapes. So in a way, this is sort of just saying like that's like there's some shadow or like even some local value going on there. That could have been like a quick 1-minute sketch. I can start to define stuff just by using this Sharpie. Just sticking with like the characters since that's what we have. So hopefully this is making it easier. It may not be. So there's some like detail already implied. So I'm going to go off of like the design of this character that was already established. Then I've got this chisel, put like the bricks, like the kind of like the design. So this is just mark making at this point and design. So this one is pretty cool, this chisel point. If need be, you can always come in with the white paint marker. Here it is. You can always do this. The main thing is just to play around with different tools and also have a sketchbook and keep a daily sketching routine. Sometimes timers help. But that'll be it for today. I want to thank you for joining me, and if you enjoy these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it, and until next time, keep on sketching.